Yeah, what up, y'all? Speak to Weaver from the Drop a Gem Show, the most infamous hip hop and boxing podcast on the planet. Yo, real quick, before this video drops, I just want to let y'all know we need y'all to subscribe, hit the like button, and hit the bell icon. Subscribe because you want to know what's going on with the channel and be part of the Drop a Gem family. The bell icon notifies you immediately when we have a video dropping, and we drop several a week. And also hit the like button because it increases the visibility of the show. So we thank y'all for your support. Again, hit the subscribe, like, bell icon, and we'll catch you on the next video. Peace. Absolutely. It's ironic because, you're talking about biting and everything. You guys were so original back then when the whole gangster rap was going on. NWA was really, prevalent back then. And, Humpty used to say, I like to bite, but it was just, that was like tongue in cheek because you guys were so not biting anybody else. So that's kind of ironic. Um, Money, talk a little bit about how you specifically started getting into hip hop as a kid, like started rhyming or you know I don't know if you were breakdancing or graffiti writing or anything. Talk a little bit about how you got into the culture.
Well, um, I've always been into music, just my mom and dad, and I had a couple of cousins that had every record, you know, as far back as records go. You know what I mean? Like, so they were maybe ages of 5 to 10 years older than me,
Hmm.
and so when I was 7, 8, they were 17, so they were in the groove. So every record from the early '70s, so rap started. I would be hanging around those records. And so when it came on the scene, I had once again, my cousin who was just like 6 years older than me, he would buy all the rap records. And my family, I'm originally from Philadelphia. That's where I was born.
Oh
So I
wow.
would spend all my summers on the East Coast. So I would be in Philly and New Jersey every summer. So I would be going to like the park jams and experiencing that, and then coming home back to Oakland and like, wow, I saw all that. But honestly, Money B originally was a DJ. That's what I
Oh,
thought that it was gonna be. You know, a DJ and a tagger or graffiti guy. Then I got into breakdancing,
Wow.
did you
and
have
excuse me.
no, no, no? With regards to the DJing aspect, did you have like any influences or idols early on with that in the graffiti aspect?
Well, just like I said, being from Philly, you had Cash Money and
Yep.
Miz and uh, you know, all those guys, and just even just listening to Grandmaster Flash and Wheels of Steel, just mixing. I forget the name of that record. The Adventures of Grandmaster Flash, I think it was.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
just listened to that record, or even like, we go to the park jams or the parties at the rec, and somebody from the block would just record it. So we would sit down and listen to a 60-minute tape. Somebody just cutting, dance to the drummer's beat back and forth, and we just be jamming off of it. So really, my first influence was just the party, get
Right.
the party going. It wasn't until a little bit later that and I don't even know what made me first think that I could pick up a pen and start writing, but it just caught me. And I want to say my first rhyme that I actually let somebody hear, like I was probably writing from 13 or 14 years old, but it wasn't until I was like 15 where I actually put something on tape and somebody else heard it. And I think 10th grade I did a talent show, and from there, the rest was history. So I took second place in the talent show, and
Wow.
I was like, oh, they like it. I was like a mini celebrity around the school, and then from then it was like that was it.
Crazy. Wow.
You know, people was telling me I had something. So
So it goes from, you start to pen your lyrics, you win a talent show, you starting to feel, good about your craft. So how does it go from that to meeting Shock G?
Well, before I met Shock G, I met DJ Fuse.
Right, Raw Fusion.
And yep. So, and Fuse was like the dopest DJ in say in the Bay at the time. So you fast forward to 1988.
Right.
And we're out of school. Me, it's Raw Fusion. It's really MGM before.
Right.
But
Wow.
MGM became Raw Fusion. And we were doing talent shows, and Jimmy, Chop Master Jay, they had their first record. The first record was Underwater Rhymes with Your Life's a Cartoon on the side. And Your Life's a Cartoon was more of that socially conscious, political,
Right.
which he wanted to do it first. But while we were doing talent shows they were trying to promote that record, and they were doing some of the same shows. So we went up. But because Shock is a transplant from New York by way of Tampa, Florida, and us from Oakland and the Bay, we would do these shows and they see us, And not to mention, Fuse was dope. He was like the dope fucking around.
Mm-hmm.
And Shock needed the DJ. So he set up a meeting, long story short, and he wanted Fuse to be his DJ. And Fuse, basically was like, I'll rock with you, but we're a group. I go, mine goes. And that's really how it happened. In the beginning, I wasn't really feeling West Coast rappers. He didn't like the sound, he didn't like our accent. New York was everything. So and me sounding, basically he said I sounded like Too Short, which I just promote. I don't sound anything like Too Short.
Right.
Not at all.
But to him, so that basically just tells you to him, those rappers were the same. In his mind.
What's crazy about that is that you're saying he's so New York influenced and so New York state of mind, but then when Digital Underground comes out, they become known for the P-Funk influence, which is the the George Clinton kind of like the Bay Area sort of sound. It's like how do we transition to that?
Well, I think that that's not necessarily true. Remember, I tell you, I'm originally from. Remember,
right
when I was 7 years old, Dad and his buddies they went to go see the Mothership land at Spectrum in Philly. So P-Funk, it wasn't really a West Coast thing. It was George Clinton. They're from Cincinnati, Ohio.
Right.
Yeah, right.
So that's a West thing, but the funk was it was a movement. It was really hip and cool. It was for the pimps, the hustlers.
Right.
So it was P-Funk was big in New York, but it was a certain type of people that was rocking it. It wasn't the traditional boom bap, the B-boys.
Right.
But it was happening at the same time. So if you was hustling a little weed on the side or pimping, you probably was listening to a little P-Funk and doing a little, your drug of choice on the side on the low.
Right.
That's probably what you was in the back room rocking to. And then when you're out in the public, yeah, word, James Brown, hip hop. What I mean? But it just so happened that on the West Coast, because we other than that, we had our own type of funk. We just adopted it. So really, Shock's affinity for P-Funk came up and traveling and coming from New York to Tampa, probably more than Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
And then coming out here where it was totally accepted more so. Because if you listen to Shock's old demos, he was, if you listen to the first DVD, I think it was either on the cassette or the CD when he's rhyming out from what's that break? Doom, 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 doom. You know what I'm
Yeah.
I forget the name of the break, but he has a record off of that song,
Mm-hmm.
And then he had some others that it was all straight, break beats and whatnot. But you also got to remember too, Shock was a musician.
Right.
So he kind of infused, because it was happening at the same time. The cool music that liked hip hop loved P-Funk, and vice versa. Shock brought it together. He brought his musicianship. If he was gonna bring his musicianship to the game, he wasn't gonna be playing no Kenny G or whoever.
Right.
Or fucking I don't know, Lionel Richie or the Commodore. Even though the Commodores was funky back then too.
Absolutely.
But you get what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. So it wasn't like he came and caught the funk. He brought the funk with him from wherever he came from, because that's what he grew loving. And Shock did a lot. He had an R&B band. He like you said, he had a little chick that he was on and traveling around the country with for a little while. He was in the streets.
Facts.
Before all that. So, so happened that we all loved it. We all loved it. I wasn't mad at it, but even in Digital Underground, we all kind of bought a certain element. We all loved hip hop, but an element that the other didn't bring it from. So Shock was more, he was just like crazy people. Funk,
right.
Fuse. He originally from Syracuse, New York, but his record collection, he had AC/DC and Van Halen in his record. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So he could bring that and a lot of some jazz fusion records. Chopmaster Jay, his father was a renowned jazz musician, so he brought all of that into me. I was just your traditional b-boy,
right?
Like I said, I was Spoonie G and Treacherous 3 and the Crash Crew, and I got to it, as well as I grew to love reggae, so I brought that into the Raw Fusion records. So we all had these things, and it was like we just came together, and never song at the time lent to it. Shock was the Grand Wizard, so naturally the initial record, like a lot of funk, and used the way that it hadn't been used before, because he was, and he fused it together kind of perfectly, if a lot of people say.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
So how do we go from from you guys deciding on the sound of the group, making your demos, doing the shows, to getting on the records radar, so to speak, and signing with them?
Well, so Underwater Rhymes did really well overseas. I think Germany, it did really well, and I guess it did all right because Adrian Gregory, who was the manager and who had Teens Records, the label that Digital was signed to. It was noise that, somehow Tommy Boy offered us a single deal. So Do What You Like was the first single on Tommy Boy.
That's crazy.
And that record, so the deal was, if we sold, like there was a certain number of records, if that single sold, then we would be offered an album. And it did it. I think it was like 50,000 units or something like that. So the single sold 50,000 units, then we would get the album deal. And kind of like the rest is history.